If you're single, you may well have been told that special someone is just around the corner. You just have to be patient and wait. You never know when they're going to come, and they're going to change everything. And if you're married, you might be in on the secret that special someone doesn't necessarily change everything. My name's Karen. I'm a chaplain. I have been for over 10 years. I get the privilege of talking to people about their lives and when what's happening doesn't quite match the vision that they have. Of course, lots of those conversations revolve around that special someone. I think what we see in our society is a really high expectation on that special someone to be able to feed almost all of our social, emotional, intellectual needs, to be able to support us to become the very best person that we are. Those expectations, it's not clear where they came from for us, but I think they've become a problem. For most of recorded history, marriages sought to provide security, cooperation, and raising children. Then more recently, for love and companionship, they became the primary concern. And now we ask for identity, for personal growth, for meaning, for someone who truly understands us and validates us, helps us become the best version of ourselves. That's a pretty big list. There's a psychologist at Northwestern University, Eli Finkel, and he's written about this. He calls it the suffocation model of modern marriage. His argument is that these higher expectations aren't wrong in themselves, but they're expensive. They require time, attention, insight, and enough energy left over at the end of the day to have some pretty deep and significant conversations. Think about what that means for two people who are working full-time, maybe with an extra job as well. Maybe they have children that need collecting and running to extracurricular activities, and parents who are starting to need more help. The expectations are going up and the available time appears to be going down, and the gap between those two things could lead to some real disappointment. When my colleagues speak of their marriages, I hear high levels of loyalty and appreciation, but also an undercurrent of fatigue. The thing I want you to notice is that no one in this situation has done anything wrong. They haven't chosen badly, their partner hasn't failed them, but the job description has become more and more significant, maybe unachievable. So it raises the obvious question, the expectations aren't exactly the problem, then what really is? His model predicts two things that can happen depending on the couple. Marriages can meet these deeper needs and they're more fulfilling than marriage of any previous era. They're genuinely better than what came before. Yet marriages that can't meet them fall further behind than they used to. What separates the two isn't how much people want from each other. It's whether the relationship is the only place that they're getting their needs met. A partner who is your best friend is a good thing, but relying on your partner who is your only friend, your only sounding board, your only confidant, that's a structural problem. However good they are, however much they love you. Ensuring your support comes from a range of people makes you more robust. Concentrating it all on one person leaves you exposed. Now there's some research on this. A study of 5,799 American adults aged over 65 found that diversity of a person's social network predicted their mental and physical quality of life. It wasn't about how supported they felt as such, it was the shape of the relationships. Researchers have a term for the position I've been describing. They call it partner network exclusivity. It means your partner is the only person you discuss important things with, not the main person, the only one. In a study of more than 17,000 partnered adults across 14 European countries, 28.1% named their partner as the only member of their core network. Now, this study focused on adults over the age of 50. The research then followed what happened to the partner if they left that core network through death, separation, or drifting apart. Most people rebuilt. Adult children came in first, then other relatives, then friends. Isolation was not automatic for people who no longer had their spouse or their partner. Around 20% of those whose partner had been their only core tie had no one in their network 4 years later. 1 in 5. This is gendered. After the death of a partner, fewer than 60% of men added new close connections, while around 90% of women did. Men were also 12.7 percentage points more likely than women to have a partner exclusive network in the first place. And one more thing, a person can be surrounded by casseroles and phone calls and visits and still feel lonely. More contact is not the same as less loneliness, because none of those new relationships carries the history that the last one did. Getting the chores done can't substitute for good conversations. Now, if you're single or single again, everything I've just said applies on the other side. Building your life around a person that you haven't even met yet is a risk. What ends up happening is you hold a space open in your life and you keep all of the other great sustaining relationships pretty thin because you're waiting for this sort of almost perfect match to fill all of those holes. So what do you actually do with this, whether you're in an intimate relationship or not? The response is not to withdraw energy from your partner if you have one. The response is to have more than one good relationship, to have community, not just marriage. One way to think about this is to think about roles rather than the people themselves. Think about everyday companionship. That's the ordinary conversation about nothing in particular that can come from local friends, neighbours, or colleagues. Think about practical help. For when you're ill or moving house or something goes wrong, who have you got in your network that can help you? Who have you got that you are helping in your network? Encouragement about your work can come from mentors and peers who actually understand your work. Now, your partner can care about your career because it matters to you, but they don't have to be the only reviewer of how you're going. Emotional processing can come from close friends, family, a counsellor, or a chaplain. And belonging, a sense of being part of something, it tends to come from whatever you're doing that you would still doing if you're on your own. So think of faith communities, practice of a hobby, belonging to a sport or an action group. And then there are those things that really need to stay with one's partner. Mutual priority, shared decisions about the future, physical intimacy, and concerns about the relationship itself. So one practical note, I don't believe in overhauls. When you reach out, ask for something specific. We should catch up sometime doesn't really go anywhere. Could we have dinner on Thursday at my house, or I'll make the reservation? That can really deepen a friendship. It's a specific commitment and it shows that you're serious. Now for me, I'm single and I learnt long ago not to wait for the perfect person. That's not fair on anyone. Instead, I have family, friends, mentors and colleagues and acquaintances who all bring me joy and support, and I hope I bring them some too. Let's come back to where we started. If you're single, one person is not going to change everything for you. And if you're married, that one person cannot provide everything for you. So if you're starting to think maybe they're not the right person to provide everything, because no one person can do that. We don't build a support team in a week, it takes time. But it's worth thinking about what are the relationships that you've allowed to grow cold, and is there something you could do to make that grow warmer? It's worth asking yourself, apart from your partner, if you have one, who is it that you can call at 2 a.m. and they'll drop everything and help you? If you know who that person is straight away, that's great. That really gives you something to build from. But if you don't know how to answer that question, that's really worth thinking about and doing something about. This has been Sanctuary Corner.